Hey y'all, how you doing? Welcome to my first video on Clash of Clans, and in this video I would like to talk to you guys today about CWL. If you saw the title of the video, you'll see that I had a perfect CWL for August 2025, and so in this video I would like to break down the strategies I used, the army I used, and the thought process behind my attacks so that you guys can copy it and implement this to get 3 stars yourselves. So first things first, going over the army. I run the base 4 heroes. With my Warden, I have the Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome. With the Queen, I run the Healing Puppet and the Magic Mirror. With my RC, I have the Hog Puppet and the Electro Boots. And with my King, I have the Rage Gem and the Giant Gauntlet. Warden, I have the Diggy. He's going to be mainly targeting, following the targeting of the Dragon Riders and the Dragons, so the Diggy will still get good stuns on defenses. My Queen, I have a Frosty just to kind of help her get through some defenses. RC, obviously I have the Spirit Fox for the Spirit Charge, it's super OP, and for the King I have the Phoenix just so he can stay alive a little longer because he is going to be suiciding into the base on his own a lot. For my actual army, I have mainly a Hydra army, which is dragons, Dragon Riders, and Balloons, with a Lava Hound too to protect from at least one air defense. And all my other troops, my Wall Breaker, my Giants, my Wizards, my Archers, and my Headhunters, those are all mainly to help support my King and Queen on their own. The spells I run, I have 9 Invis and 1 Recall spell. I don't really find that the dragons need a lot of spell support, so all of my spells go to my RC charge. And for my CC, I just have a couple extra balloons to find air traps, a Super Yeti just because I think they get good value, and then a couple freeze and poison to deal with the enemy CC and anything that might be targeting my King or Queen. Mainly I'm using the Siege Barracks with this. I rarely will pull out the Log Launcher if I think I can snipe a specific defense, but ever since the Siege Barrack got level 5 and has 2 P.E.K.K.A.s coming out of it, I just find you get so much value if you can just put it in the corner and have it funnel. But let's get into attacks and you'll see the strategy. My credentials, yes, I did get 21 stars out of 7 attacks, so let's go into it attack by attack. So day 1, I hit my mirror, and let's see. So this attack here. So in all of my attacks, my top 3 priorities are always going to be the Monolith, the air defenses, and the Town Hall. So one thing that I see a lot of people doing when they're doing their RC charges, they'll target things like Inferno Towers or Expos, and I really find that the air defenses are actually the hardest, strongest hitting things that will mess up this attack. So if I go to an air defense, right, these guys are doing 650 damage per second, whereas like an Inferno Tower, it can get up there, but it's not going to start there, and especially if it's on multi-mode, 120 damage per second is a sixth of the damage that you're getting from the air defense. So these guys are actually one of the hardest hitting things that's going to stop this attack. So you're probably my highest priority besides like a Monolith or a Town Hall. All right, so day 1 versus the BD Boys, level 20 clan. Okay, let's see. I am number 9 on my team, so I ended up hitting my mirror. So really quick before we run this, I'm going to go through my scout of what I see on this and what I'm really looking at when I target these bases. So first priority is always going to be my 4 air defenses. I'm going to see where I can get good value with my King and Queen. Whereas like I don't want to push my King and Queen into these top 2 air defenses because there is a single Inferno right here and there's also a Monolith right here. So I'm going to avoid those. Right, I'm also really looking at where do I not want to put my dragons, right? So these air defenses are supported by this air sweeper, so I really don't want my dragons to come in from the top, and this air sweeper is supporting these air defenses, so I really don't want my dragons to come in from the bottom either. However, one thing that, you know, the guy that designed this base, I think he forgot something or he made a mistake, because there's a big old hole right here. There's a big old hole right here, and it's right next to his eagle, which is another super high value target. So because there's also no single Infernos or no Monolith right here, this is where I'm going to drop my King and Queen. So I'm going to put my King and Queen right here, and they're going to get a lot of value because they're going to be able to take out the eagle, 2 air defenses, and the sweeper. And they're also going to pull the CC. So I know that even though I'm going to drop these guys, usually I just set and forget. I'm going to have to wait until I pull the CC, drop my poison so I get a good value out of it, and then I can move on. So now it comes down to these two air defenses and this monolith right here. So I want to take out the monolith, which is on this side of the town hall. So if I want to take out this monolith and the town hall, I'm going to target this air defense with my RC. So I'm probably going to put my RC somewhere around here. She's going to target this mortar, hopefully move on to the wizard tower, the cannon, as she makes her way towards the town hall. Now in this attack, it's different than my normal attack. My normal attack, I use the siege barracks, and it supports my king and queen to kind of clear out an entire corner. But because I have no, reason to think that my king and queen can't handle this whole section, I don't really need a lot of funneling support from my siege machine. But the one thing that I do see being an issue is my RC charge going straight into this invisibility tower, because if she's pushing forward and she hits this bomb tower and all of this goes invisible, she's then going to route to the cannon, to the inferno, to the archer tower, to the other cannon, and she's going to miss all of this area that I'm trying to get right here with her value. So instead, I'm going to pre-trigger this invisibility tower with a log launcher. I'm going to send in a log launcher right here before my RC. I don't really care about it opening any walls. I don't really care about it taking any buildings. All I want is for it to just pre-trigger this invisibility tower. So then when my RC goes through, she has no issue with just kind of getting all this value in here. At least that's my plan. I don't know how it's going to work out, but that is the initial plan. After that, I usually will recall her out, and I'll see kind of what's left on the base after my heroes dive. And that's when I decide, okay, I'm going to push in my dragons from here. And so let's see exactly what happened. So first things first, this guy as a whole, I'm going to drop my king and queen right in here to get this eagle and these air defenses, pre-fire a giant to look for any major traps, drop in a headhunter to help with this king. And I don't think I start my RC yet. Oh, I immediately drop my giant and my RC, but I wait until I hear them pop, and then I throw a poison on them. And now I'm ready to start my log launcher. My RC's already walking a little north, which is not ideal because I want her to go towards the town hall. My king and queen, I kind of set and forget them. I, at this point, realize that they're going to get the value I need them to get. So now I'm really just focusing on my RC, working on my spirit walk. She's kind of struggling in this poison a little bit. At this point, I only have 4 invis left. My spirit fox is dead. At this point, I really just want the town hall. I don't care if she goes to the air defense. I don't want her to push for the monolith. I have a recall spell. I can always pull her out. But at this point, I'm really just trying to get her to survive until the town hall. She walks towards the air defense. I had an extra freeze. It's fine. Her invis, it's fine. She walks out, and she gets both air defenses, the town hall, and basically this entire chunk of the base. And my king and queen have gotten this entire chunk of the base. So now all that's left is this lane of buildings for my dragons to go through. There's a little extra bit up top here, but you're going to see that I am going to completely ignore this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to drop 1 dragon and 1 balloon. 1 balloon just to check for any, black air mines so my dragon can do his job. But, just 1 dragon to kind of clean this up so that I can ignore it and just focus on, like I said, that main funnel through the base, where it's just this kind of path right here. Now, the one thing that I'm seeing when I'm looking at this path is, yes, I do want to use my warden ability to go through the monolith, but I don't want to fight this air sweeper. So I'm going to put my troops in from the left. So see, I put in 1 dragon to kind of clean up this section, and then I just dump all my other troops in. There's no air defense left for my lava hound, but it's still just going to tank out in front. And this base is already pretty much washed because I already have 70% of it gone, and I have my entire force left. So at this point, it's just going to get pieced up. Thankfully, that dragon went back for that elixir collector, so I have no issues with time. And I just kind of used my warden ability willy-nilly there because there was really no threat to all the troops that were still alive. And that's our first 3-star. Okay, so moving on to day 2. We are up against Habali, and I went to hit my mirror. So let's see, what are we looking at? Again, first things first, the things I target immediately are going to be air defenses, sweepers, the town hall, and the monolith. So immediately I'm already looking at this big cluster of things I really do not want my Hydra to come in contact with. So I already know that I'm going to be putting my king and my queen in this corner. Now, the one thing that can go wrong with this is if my king and queen decide to walk. So I think I'm going to bring a bunch of extra wall breakers, and I think in this one as well, I don't go for a siege barracks because I don't care if I have P.E.K.K.A.s and wizards kind of clean this out. None of this stuff is a real threat to my Hydra as much as this core is here. So I'm going to use another log launcher, and that's going to assist with one, opening up these walls and kind of just pushing troops inside to take out the town hall. I think that my queen then is either going to reach over and get this air defense or this air defense, and that's going to be enough value. Now, if that's the case, I need my RC to take out something else. So the one thing that I'm looking at here is this invisibility tower. I hate these setups. This is another thing that I would probably put a log launcher into to pre-trigger this, because if you try and send your RC into this and then it all turns invisible and she walks straight through while it's eating her up the whole time, that is a big way to kind of, ruin your charge before it even starts. So the other thing I'm looking at is, again, those other 2 air defenses and this monolith right next to each other. So if I push my RC in here, I think I can get good value with these targets here. There's also not a lot of defenses kind of pulling my RC towards the side. So as soon as she gets these 2 archers, I have a feeling she's just going to go straight to the monolith, which is, good pathing and good value for me. So I'm planning on, kind of having my king and queen take out this whole chunk with my siege machine, and I'm planning on my RC kind of taking out this chunk, hopefully, one of these 2 air defenses, which will kind of leave me just this big lane in the middle for my dragons. So let's just see how that plays out. So I believe I start with my king and my queen down in the corner. I'll probably drop a giant or 2 first. Yep, kind of see if there's any Teslas or traps. Draw targeting away from my wall breakers, so I make sure I get that open so that my king and queen have a direct path straight into the town hall. Drop a headhunter in for the defensive king. And once I see that they're kind of getting in, boom, I drop my RC, and now my RC is working on this side. So, like I said, right after the archers, she kind of just heads straight in. There's a bunch of Teslas on the way, but those kind of just guide her in. And right now I'm cycling my RC invises while I hear for this clan castle pull. So I see the clan castle pull. It's not a lot of troops. Go back to focus on my RC. Kind of lose track of it. My king goes to ability, and he actually ends up dying too. But as he dies, I end up dropping the poison, which will take out all of these super minions. So just working on my RC with the poison, or her invisibilities, I mean. And I still have 7 invisibilities. I came in with 9. I still have 6 invisibilities by the time that she gets to this big cluster of defenses here. If you cycle it right with the fox going every 4 seconds on, every 4 seconds off, you can get a ton of value with these spirit walks to where, again, my queen, I ignore her. At this point, I'm dropping, a dragon for cleanup. I see that there's nothing targeting air defense anywhere on this side, so I can already drop a dragon for cleanup. One of the things that can go wrong, in my opinion, with these long RC walks is, again, I have 6 more invisibilities. That's, if I have 6 seconds on, or 4 seconds on, 4 seconds off, 6 more times, that's 8 times 6, that's 48 more seconds where I am not cleaning up the base. So I immediately see, hey, there's nothing that's going to target a dragon right here. I need to get my cleanup going, because if I waste another 48 seconds just watching my RC, then I might not have time later to actually clean up the trash buildings on the base. So, kind of multitasking while I'm playing. I ignore my queen at this point, and I'm really just cycling my RC while she's going up against all this stuff. There's a lot of damage in this area, so my Spirit Fox goes down immediately. And at this point, I have half the time, actually. I'm just cycling every other. And you'll see that, you know, she was only open for a second, and she immediately went to ability. So I'm going to start cycling my Invis a little faster, just to make sure that she can survive through this. Hogs are providing good tanking and covering for her. And once she gets to this area, there's really nothing that's going to hurt her. So I think I might throw another extra invisibility, or I might just save it. I throw another couple dragons out just for cleanup, because at this point, you'll see, by the time I'm really dropping the main amount of my force, yeah, I put a couple dragons out here just for cleanup. I could have dropped, you know, maybe an archer or something, but at this point, the only thing in my army left that is only gonna focus on actual buildings is gonna be my dragons. My headhunter is gonna go for heroes, balloons, lava hound, and dragon riders are all just gonna target defenses. So I have to sacrifice some dragons here just for cleanup. But I already have 75% of the base gone before I really drop my main force and my strongest hero. So that's what's so great about this attack, is you can get so much value pushing your king, queen, and a siege barrack together and doing this invis cycle walk with your RC, that I really just have this tiny chunk of the base for 5 dragon riders, a lava hound, 2 dragons, a warden, 7 balloons, and my warden ability. So I decided to drop them early. I was going to kind of cheese for a little bit, but because I didn't want that invisibility tower to recycle, I kind of just dropped them all in, popped it early, sent a balloon on the backside, and this base was totally crushed, totally overkilled. And that's what's so great about this attack. This attack just honestly blows bases out of the water if you do it right. I even saved my recalled my dragons out, and brought them back up here just to, you know, get that base done that much faster. Alright, so moving on to day 3. Today we faced a clan that I don't know how to pronounce, but also another level 20 clan. Lots of good players in this clan. I hit my mirror again. And let's see who we were going against. So, again, first things first, what am I going to look at? I'm going to look at air defenses. I'm going to look at the town hall. I'm going to look at the monolith, and I'm going to look at the sweepers. So one thing is, sweepers are going this way and this way, so I really don't want my dragons to come in anywhere from here or from the top side. So I'm really going to have probably my dragons push in anywhere on this bottom half, is my gut instinct. Looking at this, I see a lot of kind of garbage defenses over here, like nothing that's really going to threaten my heroes, no single infernos except for all the way over here. So I think I could probably get a good bit of value done with my king and queen and my siege barrack over here. So that's probably where I'm going to throw them. Let me check the other side of the base as well, because I think, yeah, same situation over here. Not a lot of stuff that's really going to threaten them. But the thing that I'm seeing over here is a lot of like junk buildings, a lot of cleanup that really is something that could, you know, break this attack if I don't have enough time to get over to all this stuff. There's a lot of high HP buildings that could really mess with it, but there's not a lot of stuff defending it. So I think what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to keep my king and my queen over on this right side. I'm going to send my king and queen over here. I'll probably wall break them into here so that my queen can at least reach this second level of defenses. Hopefully she goes for this archer tower. Hopefully she can pick up this defensive RC and this air defense. But that's about it really for my heroes. I kind of just want them to create a good funnel for my dragons. And then on this side, I'm going to put my siege barracks over here. And they're just going to take out all these trash buildings. I don't care if they get pieced up by this cannon. I don't care if this archer tower kills them. But as long as they can kind of get this going, then, you know, I'll have a good funnel set for my dragons. And now it's just, where do I not want my dragons to go the most, so I know where to put my RC. So looking at this, I'm seeing this air sweeper right here, where I know if I push my dragons in from the top, they're going to have to fight it late when they're already weaker. That's a big no-no for me. Whereas if I push them in the bottom, you know, they might be able to avoid this air sweeper, which is looking to the side. So because of that, I think probably the place I want to put my dragons the least is up top. So that is exactly where I'm going to put my RC. So that's the plan. It is going to be siege on the left, king and queen on the right, RC up top, hopefully to get this air defense this air defense, this scatter, this inferno, kind of just walk through this area, maybe get this other air defense as well, and we'll just have the dragons come in from the bottom behind this sweeper, and they might have one air defense and one scatter shot to kind of contend with, as well as the monolith. But with the warden ability, that should be just fine. You saw how much overkill there was on the last 2 attacks. I think they'll be able to handle that just fine. So first things first, I'm going to set my king and queen, and then once I think they're safe, I'm going to forget them. I'm also probably going to pop one of my giants in front of my siege barracks, just in case there's like a Tesla or something. I don't want it to take too much damage, but nope. If there was a Tesla, it wouldn't have reached it anyways, so I think that's fine. So I put my king, if you notice, I put my king right here. So something that I see a lot of people do is they'll kind of just drop their king here, and he'll hit this side of the building, and then he'll walk this way. So if I want to push my king, you know, towards the middle of the base here, sometimes what I can do is I can put a wizard here and have it kill this, and then my king will just naturally go to this next elixir collector. But one thing that you can do is if you drop your king right here, he's going to hit this corner, and then he's only going to be 2 tiles away from the next one versus 5 tiles away from this one. So placement of my king was actually intended right there to draw him down, so that when he meets up with my queen here, who's already kind of cleaning out these buildings, and my wall breakers open up this, he just walks straight in and starts to tank for my queen. So once my wall breakers connect, I'm like, okay, they're good. Siege barracks, I really don't care about it. It's just going for trash buildings. So once those guys look like they're going in, maybe I'll throw a headhunter when I see the RC come in. Yep. But after that, I'm really just focusing on my RC and cycling my invisibilities. So see, I actually skip a cycle right here. It wasn't really going up against much damage. It was going against maybe like a mortar or two, and like that inferno that wasn't charged up yet. But because my electro boots heal my RC, sometimes I'll skip an invis if it's really not under a lot of threat, because I know it will kind of regen that health. Spirit Fox walks a little in front of the invis there. That's a little bit unfortunate. But it does seem to be, you know, getting to the center. It is kind of riding on that low line because I did skip an invis, but it seems to be going good. My queen's fighting the CC. I dropped the poison on that, and I'm really just cycling my RC. I hope to get it to the monolith. I have another 2 invis, and it locks on, so that's really fortunate. Get it to the scatter. Hopefully it can take the scatter, and then I'll recall her out. Yep. And so at this point, my queen's fine. She's going to go out. She's going to take care of this trash, so I really don't care about her. She's doing just fine. So really, and she also, there's, you know, a couple of clones of her, so she's actually also going to take out this expo and all this. So I really only have this much of the base to deal with, and I still have all my dragons, all my balloons, all my dragon riders, my lava hound, and my warden with freezes and my RC in the back pocket. So that is why this hit is so powerful, is because you get so much value from your heroes that I really don't have a lot for my main troop force to do. They're just gonna kind of clean up whatever's left. So when I'm in this situation, usually I'll take a half second and I'll kind of just glance at this and see, okay, where do I really want my dragons to go? Again, this air sweeper stayed up, so I don't want to come in from the top. Yes, you might be like, oh, you want to get the town hall down, you want to secure that 2-star, but as long as, I think that it would actually be more detrimental to, one, fight through the town hall poison and then into a sweeper. So I'm going to send my troops in from the bottom. I'm probably going to put like a dragon out here to just get these 2, and then meet up with, you know, he's going to pull these, and then he's just going to meet up with the pack, and I'll probably just send all those guys right in through here. That's what I'm thinking about mid-attack. I'm like, okay, there's this sweeper. I don't want to go into that late. So again, yep, there's that dragon. Kind of clean up, and then I just drop all the rest of my stuff in. But at this point, again, 70% of the base is already gone, and my lava hound's going to do a lot of tanking as well. So I really can pop my warden ability whenever I want, because I have 2 heroes. Even my queen is fighting. She's going to get taken down fighting the wall, but this is just such insane overkill. I mean, there's so many troops alive at the end of this. There's really nothing that could stop this. So that's hit 3. Smacked him. So day 4, we are going up against the Dark Warriors, the @Dark Warriors. clan level 24. So these guys have been around for a while. I think I hit again my mirror, but I remember this one because this guy is super rushed. So this guy's super rushed. We're just gonna have fun with this. I'm not really gonna, sweat out my planning, but the things that I'm seeing is, Town Hall 13 air defenses, Town Hall, I think that's 11 air defense, Town Hall 12, or maybe that's the 12 and this is a 14. I'm not sure. These might be 12s. This might be a 13. But these are really under-level defenses. So the thing is they're not really going to be able to contest my king or my queen or my siege barracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send like my queen in to kind of get all this, my king in to kind of get all this, because again, the biggest things are going to be the air defenses, but also the monolith and the town hall. So if I send my queen in here to kind of get all this, and I send my king in here to get all this, that's going to give my RC a lane straight into the town hall and hopefully also straight into the monolith. And then at that point, if there's anything left, I can see about sending in my dragons. But let's just see what happened with this one. I can also send in my siege barracks on any of the other corners to go after the remaining 2 air defenses. They're not going to be a big threat. So 1 giant, 1 queen to go after this. I'm going to send in my siege barracks up top to go after this. Send in my king with a wizard to go after this. That's about it. Once I feel like they've kind of gotten a little bit of a funnel, I'm going to send in my RC. This was baited with Teslas, but that's fine because it's just going to jar inside. So this one, I'm just going to run it on 2x because there's not a lot of strategy that went into this one. I'm going to cycle my RC, try and get that town hall down. Queen's doing work when she goes to ability. I'm going to save one of my invises for her because she's going up directly against the monolith. Now at this point, I already have 72% of the base done. I still have a lot of spells. I have my king using his ability. I'm going to pull my RC out because I'm out of invis. But looking at what's left on this base, there's 20% left and they're all under-level defenses. So at this point, I'm just going to drop in my RC and my king again, put an archer down for this gold storage, but I'm just going to drop my RC and my king in with a warden. I'm not going to use any of my dragons, any of my balloons, any of my dragon riders, because I think my heroes can kind of clean this one up themselves. And yeah, so I didn't have to actually use any of my main force on this one. This guy was so underleveled, I kind of just used my heroes and a couple supporting troops. And that was day 4, that was easy. Alright, so moving on to day 5. Let's see, who were we up against? We were up Strand Corb. I hit my mirror again. So let's see. Alright, so again, first reactions, this is probably an underleveled base. I'm seeing, weaker walls, not a good setup. I think there's a lot of holes in this base. A lot of this stuff is like just decorations that you can place troops around. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to come up with a strategy for it. So even on bases that look a little underleveled like this, yeah, he has 2 fire spitters that are just facing absolutely nowhere. But I don't want to just dump my troops like I did the last one because there is a Town Hall 17 and a level 4 monolith in the core. I'm not going to just mess with that. So I'm going to come up with a strategy for this defense based on what I'm seeing. So again, first priorities are going to be air defenses, monolith, town hall. Now, one of the things that's nice about this that I'm also looking at is I'll always check the CC and see if there's troops in it. This one did have troops, even though I almost expected there to not be because this clan I don't think was performing so well. But so one thing I'm going to do is first things first is, I think there's an opening right here. I'm going to drop a giant and at least pull all the troops out of this so I don't have to face them later when I'm engaging with, hard-hitting defenses. So I'm immediately going to drop a giant to pull out the CC, and then I can fight it, in relative safely somewhere over here where there's not going to be a lot of damage. Things that I want my king to get is, again, there's more gaps over here. I can have my king go after this rage tower and these air defenses, and if I have my queen kind of over here fighting the CC, taking out all this trash, and I have my king kind of in here, and he's going to, do his rage gauntlet stuff and kind of take out this whole area. This is kind of what I'm expecting from my heroes. Siege machine as well. I can also put my siege barracks with my queen to kind of just help her get all of this trash out of the way. But that's when I'm also going to say, okay, all these defenses are gone. If I put my RC now in this open pocket, she's going to go straight into the core. And that's exactly what I want. I want her to take out this monolith. I want her to take out the town hall. She can also get these infernos, and maybe even like this scatter shot or this, you know, rage tower as well. So that's my initial plan. And then my dragons are there to just kind of clean up the rest, whatever is available. I don't really care about them, you know, going up here. These are kind of facing north, so I'd probably push them in from the south. These giant cannons can't affect them, but it's also something that I'm going to say, hey, you know, why didn't you put, you know, your king and queen in over in this corner or something, right? It's because I don't want them to face these cannons, so I'm going to put them far away from that. So let's see what happened. So again, there's all these holes in this base. I immediately put a giant down to pull out the CC, and then I'm going to draw them over to this corner by wall breaking in with my queen and my siege barracks. Now, I want my king to go in here and start clearing stuff out. I didn't really want him to fight the CC, but it's okay because I have a poison. I really just don't want to waste time, so I'm going to put him in early and try and get this area cleared out as fast as possible. Because I have to wait for these to kind of get cleared out before I can push in my RC. So once my RC has a clear path towards the town hall, I push her in. She takes out the monolith, targets the town hall. I'm just cycling every 4 seconds on, every 4 seconds off with the spirit fox. I don't care that my other troops are getting targeted. I'll maybe throw one invis on my queen immediately when she pops so that her healer puppet has time to heal up the main queen. I don't care about the clones getting targeted, but sometimes that healer puppet will pop and your queen will be so weak if it goes to auto ability that she'll just die right away. So I still have invis, I'm cycling my RC, and now at the end of the first stage of the attack where I'm really just using my heroes to set the funnel and everything, I have one more invis, and then I'm gonna cycle out my RC. Hopefully she can get this air defense, and she does, so I pull her out. This is all that's left. This is what I'm requiring, or I'm leaving for my dragons, my balloons, and my dragon riders. So when I'm looking at this, I don't want to go anywhere north because I don't want to fight these flame spitters, fire spitters. So I'm going to push them in from the south. There's not a lot of stuff that's going to target them. And there's also not a lot of stuff that's going to hit my RC that hard so that she can also start to regain value and health while she is respawned in. So put in all my dragons from the south, and they're just going to take this line and they are going to work through the base like this. One thing that I want to talk about while this is happening is something that is so important for your dragons is because I'm not giving them any spells to support them, something that's really important that I haven't really brought up yet is keeping your dragons close to each other, right? I'm only really giving them a thin window of buildings that I want them to attack. You won't see me, you know, say I was gonna go from the bottom side, you won't see me spam all my dragons along this whole edge and have them push in this way, because if your dragons are spread out, that's when, you know, you're gonna run into a lot of problems. It's like the apes together strong thing. Like, you want all of your dragons in a concentrated tight pack moving through the base, because that's when they're gonna be the strongest. But again, another overkilled base. This base wasn't set up that well. It had a lot of holes in it, but at the end of the day, we still came up with a strategy that was gonna get us the 3-star no matter what. On to day 6. All right, let's get on to day 6. We were facing the Avengers. Okay, I hit my mirror. So let's see what happened. Okay, this one, I remember this one. This one is, it does look a little underleveled. Like, the air defenses are Town Hall 14s and the walls are pretty low, but the Infernos are decently leveled. The Monolith, the Town Hall and everything is all decently leveled. So I definitely didn't want to just, again, dump my troops and forget about it. So let's come up with a strategy for these guys. So first things first, I'm looking where my air defenses are. Checking out my air defenses, checking out the air sweepers, Town Hall, Monolith. And you'll see these are all kind of spread out. So it wasn't as simple as oh, I'll put my RC in here, and I'll put my king and queen in here, and then I'll have my dragons just take out the rest, because they'd have to fight not only the town hall, but 2 different air defenses and an air sweeper. That seemed like a lot for them to fight. Also, probably the CC and a single inferno. So on this one, I actually had to do a little bit of deviation from my normal strat. So in this one, I knew that I wanted my queen to go in from one corner and my king to go in from another. I just had to decide where they would get the most value. So one thing I really didn't want my dragons to do would be to fight this town hall, because even if they go through it early, the warden ability isn't going to cover them fighting the town hall and going through the poison. So I knew I wanted one of my heroes to take it down. Usually the king is the best for this, because if I pop his gauntlet, you know, maybe he'll be able to get it down before this single inferno charges up and before the CC pops. Because if you actually look, this is a pretty common structure, like defensive structure, that you'll see where there'll be a single inferno protecting the town hall and the CC. So what you want is, you know, if your hero comes in and starts to attack the town hall, the CC is going to come out and it's going to distract it while the single builds up and just melts it. So this is already an anti-king structure, but because I really don't want my dragons to go through it, my queen probably wouldn't handle it well, and I just have bigger plans for my RC, such as, you know, the monolith. This is where I want to send my king. But there's a lot of trash out here, and there's a lot that was going through my head as far as how to get my king to actually attack this town hall. So if I were to just put my king in the corner here, right, he's going to take this building, he's going to take this building, he's going to take this building, he's just going to walk, right? If I put him here, he's going to take these buildings and he's just going to walk, right? So I need to properly funnel my king in, and now if I want to do that, I need to probably get rid of this building here. So now that there's this big gap between this area, and maybe even this gold collector here. So now there's this big gap. So there's just these buildings left, all kind of funneling him in to the walls here. So I can't just put down anything. What bothered me here was, you know, this guy seems pretty fine. There's no real defenses out here that can mess with this. As long as I put my king, you know, somewhere like right on this corner, he's going to hit this building, then go to this building, and then there's going to be this big gap here, and he's probably just going to walk over here up and in. So this gold collector was a big priority for me, but if there was, you know, like a Tesla right here that took out a wizard, I don't think it would be the end of the world unless my king went for that Tesla, but that would also be, you know, kind of a long shot for him. But the one that actually bothered me was this structure here. This looked like a bait where, you know, they're trying to bait in, for example, like a blimp, right? Like, oh, there's, you know, nothing here that could stop your blimp coming in, so just send a blimp right in here, but then there's going to be Teslas all along this. And what the Teslas would do is if I put my king in here to try and go there, he was just going to start walking out and away from the town hall. So that was another big concern of mine. So what I ended up doing is I ended up putting a giant down first and then a wizard, so that you know, if there was a Tesla for whatever reason, he's going to tank that while my wizard can clear out this army camp, and that'll leave my king with perfect pathing straight into the town hall. Queen, I really didn't care about her as much. I knew that, you know, she was going to be fine on her own, probably with the siege barracks. I want the siege barracks to kind of clean up all this junk with her so that she doesn't waste time getting inside. I'll probably just wall break her in and hope that she goes for the eagle. Eagle isn't that big of a priority. It's mainly just this air defense, and if I put my queen right here, she's going to handle that. And then my next biggest target is the monolith, and this is what I want my RC to handle, but I don't want to necessarily throw her up in the corner, because if I put her up in the corner, I don't really know what path she's going to take and whether that path would take her to the monolith or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my RC right here, because there's a very thick chain of defenses kind of funneling her straight towards that monolith. So that is my plan for now. We are going to currently send my king in with a little funneling to go after the town hall. We're going to send my queen and my barracks to kind of take out some trash and hopefully go for this eagle. If it's not the end of the world if she doesn't. I really don't want my dragons to push in from the top and into this monolith. So I'm going to send my RC in to grab this monolith. And then if my king takes out this, maybe even fights the CC, or my RC fights it, and my queen takes out this, then I really have, again, a thin lane for my dragons. Now, yes, they are going to be either entering against this air sweeper or this air sweeper, but that is kind of something that I'll decide mid battle, where I say, okay, this lane looks worse, this lane looks better. I still have a warden ability and I have a bunch of troops, so it hasn't been a problem yet. I know I'm gonna have overkill, so let's see how it went down. So first things first, I'm gonna focus on my king, because I think that was like my biggest concern, is making sure that I got the funneling right for him. So I put that giant down to protect for in case there was a Tesla. Then that wizard, then another wizard. He's out of range, he should be fine. And then now my king is just gonna walk straight in after the town hall. So he's good. I just set and forget him. I put in my queen and my siege barracks on the other end. I put in my wall breakers. I don't think they got their value because of a giant bomb or some kind of bomb, but that is okay. RC is now going in for the monolith, and I'm gonna be cycling Vizes. Now I pull the CC and it goes after the king. At this point, I think I'm still focused on my RC and cycling because she's so close to the monolith. So I don't realize that my king gets distracted away from the town hall. I thought he was going to pick it up when he went to auto ability, and he does do a lot of damage on it, but he does get distracted by this warden. RC picks up the monolith. Her aura is damaging this sweeper, which is great. And I still have 3 more invises and the poison to take out the rest of the CC. She has her ability, so I know she's safe. And she's actually taking out all of these infernos in the court, which is huge extra value. Now at this point, I recall her out. And let's see exactly how much of this base is gone. So my queen and my siege barracks and my RC put in a ton of work. They have all of this gone. My king didn't quite get the town hall. There's a couple of trash buildings on the edge, but I still have like a wizard, some archers. They can clean that up really quick. So I basically just have this big chunk down here and this big chunk up here for my main force. And one thing that we'll see is my queen is actually still alive, and she's currently fighting a scatter shot and an archer tower. So I think I just give her 1 freeze, and as long as she gets that scatter down, because she has 2 archer queens and healers, she's going to take the rest of that easy. So again, put down a wizard, put down a dragon for cleanup, and it's really just, I can put my entire force in here to take out this last little corner and the town hall. And this is just going to be another overkill, because I still have my RC in the back pocket, I still have an extra freeze, I still have my warden ability, and I have my RC ability. And this dragon and queen are actually able to take out the town hall too anyways with that freeze. So there's another overkill on day 6. Alright, so moving on to day 7. Now at this point, I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous because I was like, okay, you know, I got to get this last hit to get the perfect CWL. And you might be like, well, you didn't even hit your mirror. Did you hit someone lower? But I actually went and I hit number 6. I went a little higher because I didn't want to hit a town hall 15. And this was the highest base that hadn't been hit yet. So I went for number 6 because it was town hall 16. And let's break this one down. So first things first, I'm looking at my air defenses. I'm looking at the monolith. These sweepers are both pointing up and away, and I'm looking at my town hall. So right here, 2 air defenses right next to each other, that's good value. I don't want to put my king and queen there because they're going to go straight into the monolith. That's not good value for them, but I can put my RC there because she'll be fine under her invis, and she'll be able to go take out either one or both of the air defenses with the monolith. Now, up top, I have 2 separate air defenses, and they're kind of spread out. So I could do my normal king, queen, siege barracks, but they're probably only going to get 1 before they either go to this expo or go into this core where they fight a raged up single, which will take out my king for sure. So I think I'm going to split my king and queen on this one. Something I can do is, because there's really not a lot of ground damage here, there's like one expo. Because I get 2 P.E.K.K.A.s out of my siege barracks, I'm just going to put my siege barracks here and hope that the wizards reach over this wall and get this air defense for me. So I'm planning on my siege barracks kind of piecing up this section here. I think it should be totally fine to kind of grab all of that. And then I can have my queen up top do the exact same thing, where she'll kind of piece up all these buildings and she'll reach over this wall and get this air defense. So then what do I want my king to do? I really want my king to kind of take out this eagle, and I want him to be supported by my queen. So if my queen's kind of going like this and getting this stuff, if she's going to start going into the base, I want my king in front of her to protect her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my queen here, and I'm going to drop my king like here so he can take out this cannon, fight the enemy king, and then try and push in. Something that I'm seeing when I'm scouting this is I do have a super wall breaker, and there is a hole in this base here because these are leaving a gap right around this. There's actually a hole here where I planned on putting my super wall breaker to open up this compartment to give me access to the eagle. So this wasn't my plan. I think I forgot about it mid-attack because I was focused on just the other stuff that was going on. But the other thing that I want to bring up before I show the replay is my placement of my RC, because again, I have these 2 air defenses and this monolith that I'm trying to take out. So if I put my RC down here or down here, these are kind of like my options, right? I could put her here where she's going to hit this air defense, but then she might follow this cannon and start going up and away. So really what I want to do is I want to put her on the inside of either of these 2 wizard towers, where she's going to take the wizard tower, then the air defense, and then she's going to be actually closest to go to the monolith. Now from the monolith, she can either reach over and take the other air defense, or she can go up into the core and take out, you know, these inferno towers and this rage tower. Either way, it's great value for me. So no matter what, I'm going to put my RC on the inside of one of these 2 wizard towers to control her pathing towards the monolith. So let's get into it. I think first things first too, there's a bunch of trash out here that has nothing defending it. So I'm just going to throw like an archer or 2 to clean it up so I don't have to worry about it later in the attack. Put a giant down first in case there's a Tesla to protect my siege barracks. Throw my queen up top with a giant as well. And then once she takes out that elixir pump, then my king is going to be forced to the middle. Drop a headhunter to help me fight that king. And then I'm putting my RC again inside of that wizard tower so that she's going to go straight from the wizard tower to the air defense. And then right after the air defense, she should go straight into the monolith. Now I kind of set and forget my heroes up there. I'm really just focusing on my RC at this point. And she decides to go up towards the Infernos, which is great for me. I tried to put a freeze on this Inferno, but because I was double tasking, I accidentally put an invis on it as well. So a little bit of an error there, but you'll see it doesn't really affect us in the end. I'm freezing it again. Don't really need to because my king's under Phoenix, but I was really kind of just trying to half focus on that while I'm focusing on my RC cycle. Because she was getting so close to the town hall, I was getting really close to getting a ton of value. And I have another 3 invisibilities here, and her fox is still alive, so I should be able to get the town hall in this cycle. So I'm gonna wait to get the town hall. Maybe I can steal out one of these 2 air sweepers as well. I think I wait for that, and then I pull her out. So again, after the hero dives, I have my queen here. She's gonna just handle this, so I don't have to worry about it. And now I'm really just looking at this lane for my dragons. And to kind of bring up what I was talking about again, I'm not going to put my dragons here. I don't want them to broadside the base. I want my dragons to stay in a very, very tight pack. So where I'm going to push them is down here, because I want them to stay nice and together in a strong pack as they go up. And you might be like, okay, well, why don't you go from the top? You know, there's cannons that aren't going to affect your dragon, but I also don't want to face this sweeper. So I'm going to be able to use my warn ability through the air defense, and I'm going to avoid this sweeper, and I really don't care about these anyways, so it doesn't matter whether I go first or last against them. So at this point, drop my lava hound to tank the air defense, and then I just spam in all of my troops. I have a couple extra wizards that I hadn't used. They're going to help clean up this outside. Again, all that's going to do is hopefully keep my dragons a little bit tighter. Early warden ability, just because at this point there's really nothing that's going to stop this push. I have my RC coming in and she's also healing under the healing tome. So it's really just going to be another overkill. My queen actually is still surviving and healing up too. And it was just a nice clean attack to finish up my CWL. So lots of overkill on these attacks. I know some of these bases, I mean most of these bases were a little underleveled. So if you would like to see me take this army and push Legend League with it, let me know, because I'll go up against Town Hall 17s with this and still get a lot of value and a lot of triples. If you guys made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and comment if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Let me know if you want to see other CWLs, other wars, regular Legends pushing. Just let me know.